Okay. All right, so question was, we got in a conversation yesterday. This is Judd at White Wave Trading Strategies. And was a conversation about time frame trading and little hints of setting up your board and looking for moves intraday that can turn into big moves. And sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't, but it's generally worth a look. So when you see my board, for our purposes here, we're going to go down here and look at the currencies. So you have the euro, the yen, the pounds, Aussie, whatever. This is how I have my quote board set up. And it's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. So then over here, I go to the futures. When I trade, I only really look at the cash prices. But everybody's really trading the futures. So I track this. CQG still tracks pit closes, which is important. So it's the 7:20 until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Central Daylight Time for the currencies. It's the same thing for the bond futures, which USZ is the US session only. You can see it's 119.12 this morning, where it opened. It went down to 22 with a high of 120.15. Then you can see the overnight range in the minis. So what I like to do yesterday, when the S&Ps were trading around 38.15, I think, around 2 o'clock. And the currencies, the dollar started to get stronger. So the all session currency futures started breaking after the 2 o'clock close. You could, and yesterday you saw it in the euro, you saw it in the euro today too. It was a few ticks lower. But yesterday it was dramatically lower. I mean, they dropped 30, 40, 50 ticks. When you see something like that and the dollar's help me out with a word, Angela.
Correlating?
Yeah, when the dollar's correlating with the indices and the bonds, and it's the same trade, and you can get a hint that the contra trend move at 2 to 215, 220 in the indices is a false move, because the currencies, the dollar's going bid, the currencies are going down after the 2 o'clock close with the bonds. That's not going to help the indices. And then the indices had one last rally and turned around and broke, 60, 70 points. So you can get little hints that way by looking at where things close. And that's just basic time frame trading, when capital flows in. So if I'm looking for a contra trend trade in the indices, I'm looking for the algos to square up sometime around 2 o'clock Chicago time, 2 to 215, 220. A lot of times it's choppy or contra trend price action. In the currencies, you'll get it at 1 o'clock to 120. And it's been doing that for, I don't know, currencies have been doing it for 49 years. So it's just something you can look at.
Judd, the currencies and the bonds close at the same time, the pit.
They have yes, the pit bonds and the pit currencies close at the same, open and close at the same time, 7:20 to 2 o'clock Chicago.
Bingo.
The gold opens at 7:20 and closes at 12:30. That's another one to look at. If the gold starts weakening after 12:30, after its pit close, well, you certainly, don't want to be long the metals. And that's just more confirmation that we're going to probably go risk off. That's why I keep my quote board. If there's a pit session, I always keep it up because it's just easier to delineate the session. I mean, Stan pointed out that, we can use a 1,380-minute chart and it'll break out the US session from all the other sessions. And then you just have a bar. Here, we'll come up to this other chart here. Give you a quick look. Okay, so for example, here's a pit session S&P chart. And we have a breakaway gap today. We gap lower. We went down, probed new lows, and came back up and tried to fill the gap and couldn't do it. So that's bearish. Now tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen with this. There's always a chance it comes back up here and tries to back and fill, but unless it sustains after 12:30 tomorrow, Chicago time, I think it rolls over and dies again. So that's just one of the small little things you can look at to, leverage a bigger intraday trade on some of these event days. If you see something happening, you'll see the capital flow in the currencies. If they start buying dollars, they're going to start selling the indices. And that's the correlation right now. Now, does that answer any other questions on that, Ken, Angela?
I'm totally good.
Okay. Well, that's just something.
In fact, I put up a 15-minute chart of the dollar yesterday, the Swiss franc, the euro, right? They all started getting squirrely right at 2 o'clock, but they didn't actually break the range for the day until 3:15.
Yeah.
3 o'clock, 3:15, somewhere in there.
Oh yeah, here's when this is what these pink bars are Wednesday. And there it is. And then they just started going. Right there is 2 o'clock. And then they just went. And then right after that, the indices went with it. So here, I'll put up the same chart. You have an ORL on the hourly and the indices at the same time period. And then it just goes. So those are just little things you can look at.
I like that because I was looking for the dollar to get stronger. And that's exactly what it did right in the time frame that you thought it should.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many times you have to sit there over the years of trading currencies and get ripped at the same time to learn your lesson.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to take this shorter time frame stuff, right? And I'm trying to merge it with my primary trend stuff for purposes of better execution.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but I'm getting there. It's just now this is more stuff to have to look at.
Well, it's just, my mind's just been there from, all those years. So I've just learned to see it. And people, unless you point something out to somebody, they're not going to see it. They can look at it for a long time and not see it. It's the same way I learned how to sail upwind. I could look at I could see up the lake, but I couldn't see which way, whether the shift was moving left or right and how dark it was. And when it was going to get to me and how I could use it. This is
Yeah.
exactly the same thing.
I mean, I think if all I was staring at was currencies all day, I'd like to think that I would see it because I'm really good with noticing patterns. And I think I would see it. But I'm not going to see it when I'm doing all the other shit that I'm doing. There's just
Well,
no
it's just
way.
like Bryce in the World Series last night or the night before, when he told, when he pulled over Blom or whatever his name was, and gave him the tell on the pitcher for the home run. And he ripped another one. You know, sometimes some guys see it and some guys don't. All right. Well, thanks you guys. So we're going to stop recording this.
That was cool.